Welcome back, dear learners. Before the ad break, we did some interesting calculations. I have more calculations here for you. Make sure you have somewhere to write. You need a pen, you need a calculator as well. The information reads, Buhle, the owner of B Kites, manufactures and sells kites for children. He has been struggling to calculate the cost per kite produced so that he can determine his selling price. Assist Buhle to calculate the total cost of producing each kite. So the information then says, Buhle manufactures and sells kites for children. The selling price per kite is 155 rands. A summary of all his cost for October is provided. He manufactured 2,500 kites during October. There is the information. We have the cost per kite and the cost for the month. So we need to use this information. Let's see what we are to calculate. Question number 1 says, calculate the direct material cost per kite. The direct material cost per kite. So we know the first thing that we have is the cost per kite here, and the material cost per kite is 25. So we have 25 here. And then we know that in the kite we will need wood, which is 5 rand. So we come and say plus the 5 rand for the wood. And we also need line per kite. Then we say plus the line plus the 5 rand. That would then give us 35 rands. So we took the material cost, the wood, and the line. We add these 3, then they give us the direct material cost per kite. The next question then says, calculate the total manufacturing overhead. The total manufacturing overhead. If we're to calculate the manufacturing overhead, we also have to know which information are we going to use. Let's see. The first thing we are going to take is the salary of the factory supervisor. Remember, the overheads are costs that are incurred in the factory, but not direct. But not direct. So we'll take the 5,000. We'll take the 5,000 here, plus the rent, which is 8,000, plus the 8,000, plus the water and electricity, 2,500, plus 2,500, plus the indirect material cost, that is the 500, plus the 500. All right, if you have a calculator, you say 5,000 plus 8, plus 2.5, plus 500. That will give you 16,000. 16,000 therefore becomes my total manufacturing overhead for the month. Now that we have calculated the total manufacturing overhead, let's go to the next question. The next question says, calculate the total cost of production for October when 2,500 kites were produced. The total cost of production. All right? So we know that when we calculate the total cost of production, we will need our direct costs as well as our factory overheads. So to get our direct costs, we have already calculated the direct material cost per kite. Remember, we say 25 plus 5 plus 5. And that gave us 35 rands. Then we say plus the wages per kite, that is the direct labor cost. The direct labor cost is 50. So it's 35 plus 50. That is going to give us 85 rands. 85 rands is the direct cost. The direct cost includes direct material and direct labor. When we have 85 per unit, we then multiply by 2,500 kites. Multiply by 2,500. 500 kites. That will give us 212,500. So to produce 2,500 kites, the direct costs, that is your direct material and the direct labor, costed us 212,500. And we have just recently calculated the factory overhead amount. And the factory overhead amount was 16,000. 16,000. How did we get that one? We added the salary of the factory supervisor, plus the rent, plus the water and electricity, and the indirect materials. And the total was 16,000. So once we have our direct cost, which is 212,500, plus our factory overheads of 16,000, when we add these ones, it would then give us 228,500. The 228 therefore becomes the total cost of production for producing 2,500 kites. The next question then says, calculate the unit cost of production. The unit cost of production. We know that it costed us 228,500 to produce 2,500 kites. How much is it going to cost us to produce one? That is what they're saying, unit cost. So we say the total cost of production, we divide it by the number of units. By the number of units, which is 2,500 units. This is going to give us 91 rands 40 cents. 91 rand 40. When we take our 228,500 divided by 2,500, it gives us 91 rand 40. The last question then reads, what is the percentage profit will end per kite in October if the kites were sold at 155 rand each? Okay, so we know that if we are to calculate percentage profit, we have to know what is the cost per kite and what price we have sold the kite at. Here they've given us the price at which they've sold the kite. So they've sold the kite at 155. This is the price that they're selling the kite. But it costed us, remember, 91 rand 40 to produce each kite. So the profit that we're making per kite is 63 rand 60. This is the profit per kite, 63 rand 60, profit per kite. So we then take our profit per kite, which is 63 rand 60. We divide this by the cost per kite. And the cost per kite is 91 rand 40. And then we multiply this by 100 over 1. You punch that in your calculator, it should give you 69.6%. 69.6%. This is the percentage profit that has been earned per kite. First, you have to know your selling price minus the cost per unit. It gives you the profit per unit. Then you divide your profit by the cost, multiply by 100 over 1. That gives you the percentage profit per kite. Dear learners, let's go for an ad break, and I'll see you shortly.